So the first thing you want to do is identify the vertex. So in problems 1 through 4, we are identifying the vertex. In order to identify the vertex, you need to be able to look at the original equation, find h, and find k. H comes from taking the middle term and its opposite. So if the middle term is positive 16, its opposite is negative 16. Dividing that term by 2 and multiplying it by the value on x squared, which is a. So negative 16 divided by 2 is negative 8. That represents the h value. The k value of the vertex comes from plugging the h value back in to your original equation. So that is negative 8 squared plus 16 times negative 8 plus 64. So then you have to simplify. So a negative times a negative is always a positive. So that's 64. 8 times 16 is going to give you a negative number in this case, because 8 is negative and 16 is positive. So you get a negative 128 plus a positive 64. So 64 and 64 is 128. 128 minus 128 is 0. So what that means is the vertex of this equation is negative 8, 0. Okay, so that is what you have to do for part 1. In part 2, we are graphing. So in order to graph, you have to do exactly kind of what we did yesterday. So you have to find your h and your k once again. So if you are in standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c, you have to start by finding h and k. If you're in vertex form, h and k are given to you, so you don't have to worry so much about finding them because they're in the equation. So h, once again, is negative b, so in this case it's positive 2, divided by 2 times a. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And to find k, you plug 1 in. So you get 1 minus 2 minus 3, which is negative 4. That means on my graph, I have the point 1, negative 4. That point is either my highest or lowest point because it is my vertex. In this case, the a value is positive. Therefore, this is a min. To get the remaining points, you add your h value. So in this case, it's 1. You multiply by your a value, which is also 1. And then you add or subtract your k, which is negative 4. That is that y, a plus k, and x plus h. The x always goes 0, 1, 2. The y always goes 0, 1, 4. And then we apply our transformations. So adding 1 on the left and subtracting 4 on the right. So you have 1, negative 4, 2, negative 3, 3, 0. And again, we know that these are symmetric about that vertex because this is called our AOS. The axis of symmetry in this case would be x equals 1. So if your point goes up 1, right 1, a point goes up 1, left 1. This point right here at 0, negative 3, that is called my y-intercept. You could have also gotten that from your equation because the y-intercept is the last value without a variable in standard form. So my y-intercept was 0, negative 3. And then I also go up 4 and over 2. And I have my 5-point quadratic function. A question on an upcoming quiz on Friday would look very similar to this. I would ask you to identify the vertex. I would ask you to give me 5 points on a graph. I might ask you something like, what's the y-intercept? What's the axis of symmetry? I might also say, what's my domain? I could ask you for the range. So in this case, the y values are greater than or equal to, and again, your k value, which is negative 4. We also discussed on Friday last week transformations. That is the words of what is happening. So you can look at this graph. It's down 4 and right 1. That's in words what is happening. Down 4 and right 1. Those are called your transformations. So you're going to do similar work for 6, 7, and 8. As well as 9 and 10. And then again, since we graphed 8 problems yesterday and 4 more today, for the bottom part, you're just putting into words what is happening again. So you're identifying H, K, your vertex, your AOS, and then I want you to tell me, is it a min or a max, and where is that min or max at? But the vertex, AOS, and min or max all come from H and K. So we haven't done an H where we have an A value other than 1. So let's look at 11. Your H starts with negative B, so that's positive 54, divided by 2A, so that's 2 times 3. Now, before you do your dividing, or depending on if you have a calculator like this, do not type 54 divided by 2 times 3. Do not type it on your calculator like that. What you're telling your calculator to do is divide 54 by 2 and then multiply that answer by 3, which is going to give you 81. What we want to have the calculator do is take 54 and divide it by 2 times 3. So you can put it in parentheses, or you yourself could multiply 2 times 3 to get 6. But either way, the correct answer is 9. So for your H value, you need to get the value 9. And that's why I wanted to look at one where we had an A other than 1 to make sure you understood you have to multiply the denominator first, then divide. To get K, you just plug it in. So again, if you have a calculator, which again, they're readily available for you during class, you would want to take 3, make sure you put 9 in parentheses, square that, minus 54 times 9 in parentheses again, plus 241. So you should get a K value of -2. That makes my vertex 9, -2. My axis of symmetry has to have, because this is 3 points for putting an x equals on your paper that day. I don't care if you write it equal to the wrong number. I am giving you a point for putting x equals because it is an equation of a line. It's x equals h, which in this case is 9. My A value is positive, so my graph opens up. So if a graph opens up, then it has a min, and my min value is always at my K, so -2. This worksheet and yesterday's worksheet are due tomorrow at 10 a.m. This worksheet and yesterday's are due tomorrow at 10 a.m. Tomorrow I will be on Zoom to teach you how to do the front and back of 5-1. So our class starts at 10:03. And we'll go over some of these, and then you'll do the front and back of that for tomorrow.